Every June 12 is Democracy Day in Nigeria, a day to reflect on the gains and pains of a system of government dubbed the most representative. But how much progress has the country made? In our top story, Just Nigeria's Wale Fakile assesses Nigeria's 25 years of unbroken democracy transitions. He does this through the lens of everyday Nigerians and activists who played critical roles in sending soldiers back to the barracks.
For 25 years, Nigeria has danced to the drumbeat of its democratic destiny. Each step, a stride towards unity. Each sway, a swing towards peace. But not without potholes and pitfalls.
It's a mixture of the good, the bad, and the ugly.
In a region dotted by forceful regime takeovers, Nigeria has emerged a beacon of electoral hope. For 25 uninterrupted years, the country's executive, legislative, and judicial arms of government continue to navigate the sometimes murky waters of democracy. And with an active media holding down the fourth estate, it's been a tale of resilience and determination of more than 200 million people.
Honestly, I don't think the executive has performed well, on at all levels, whether it's presidential, whether it's governorship, even local government.
1999 till date, what is there any improvement in economy? Zero. Infrastructure? Zero. Security? Zero.
At the helm of Nigeria's governance since 1999 stands the executive. From President Olusegun Obasanjo's pioneering efforts to President Bola Tinubu's resolve to revive the economy, the executive has grappled with a cocktail of challenges. Obasanjo's administration was marked by its privatization program and debt relief negotiations, a key turning point. However, the era was tainted by allegations of corruption and human rights abuses, denting the executive's performance. Succeeding Obasanjo, President Umaru Yar'Adua's tenure was tragically cut short by his death. His demise paving the way for then Vice President Goodluck Jonathan. Jonathan's presidency was defined by global oil crisis and rise of the Boko Haram insurgency, a test of the executive's grit in the face of security and economic challenges. President Muhammadu Buhari's election in 2015 brought a renewed focus on the fight against corruption, although his efforts were met with praise and criticism. President Tinubu assumed office in 2019, with Nigeria facing falling earnings and rising debts. Experts say his economic reforms have been knee-jerked, poorly planned, and painful for Nigerians.
Each of these administrations have contributed in their own way in terms of deepening democracy.
I think we'll generally give them a 4 grade, and it's the evidence in people's life.
There is no doubt that the reform has occasioned hardship. I feel your pains. Yet there are necessary repairs required to fix the economy over the long run so that everyone has access to economic opportunity.
The executive has achieved successes like the establishment of the EFCC and ICPC to fight corruption, implementation of economic reforms like the global system for mobile communications revolution, and improved relations with the international community.
Actually, based on lawmaking, they try. But implementation of the law, that's the problem.
We should go back to the drawing board and focus on things that are more priority right now, rather than all these ephemeral things.
The National Assembly, comprising the Senate and House of Representatives, plays a critical role in Nigeria's representative democracy.
Those in favor of the amendment say aye.
From enacting laws to providing oversight and accountability, it has been a crucial pillar of the country's democracy.
Honorable colleagues,
but corruption scandals, allegations of rubber stamping executive proposals, and a perceived disconnect from the people are a recurring theme. Yet, the legislature has been responsible for some of the most significant achievements in Nigeria's democratic history. These include passage of the Freedom of Information Act, the Petroleum Industry Act, and the ongoing review of the Constitution.
They've made some laws, a constitutional amendment, but it's not sufficient. They've done some probes, but over 600 probes, only 3 has come to conclusion. And the oversight function of the legislature is not effective enough.
But over the past 10 years or thereabouts, we've seen a situation where the legislature is more stable, is more professional, and is to some extent able to perform its function as at when due.
I believe they have much to do that could even put smiles on the faces of Nigerians.
Justice is only for the rich and not for the poor.
The judiciary has played a pivotal role in shaping Nigeria's democratic journey in the last 25 years. From landmark rulings on electoral disputes to crucial decisions on human rights, the courts have emerged as a cornerstone for the rule of law. But the judiciary has its own share of difficulties. It has faced allegations of political interference and concerns over the independence of judges. High-profile cases, such as trials of corrupt political figures, have also tested the judiciary's commitment to impartiality. Despite these tests, the judiciary has achieved successes like the establishment of the National Judicial Council, introduction of judicial reforms, and enhanced independence.
There were occasions where some judicial pronouncements were well received by the people, and people were happy. But there were times where the judicial pronouncements were a great disappointment and has led to reduction of trust and reverence.
We are beginning to see that independence of judiciary, access of citizens actually to the judicial system, and innovation when you think of things like mobile courts springing up, the use of technology like the electronic case management system we saw introduced by Lagos and now adopted by other states.
When the judiciary is completely independent, that the kind of responses we'll get from them will be different from now that they still have to depend on the executive to provide funding for them to increase their salaries, for instance, when it should have been, they are an arm of government themselves. They should be able to control their finances.
They are actually in the pockets of those in the corridors of power. And it is exactly what they want you to know that they will allow the media to show.
The media is holding the government accountable because they've been talking.
The media, bro, they don't perform well. Now the government get the media. How it is say the media will fit perform well if the government don't perform well?
The role of the media cannot be overstated before and after the return to democracy in 1999. As the fourth estate, it has served as a watchdog, holding the powerful accountable and amplifying the voices of the people.
If you look at what it means to live under military rule, it's a fundamental setback for people. The fact that also it drains the elements of freedom and civic liberties and the people. Unfortunately, we don't always see how these boxes and work into economic development. It's critical.
And just like the free arms of government, the media has confronted its own trials. Threats to press freedom, fake news, and financial constraints have at times compromised the independence of news outlets. Despite these obstacles, the media has remained a fountain of information and a forum for public discourse. Investigative journalists have uncovered corruption scandals, while opinion leaders continue to shape the national narrative.
I must also say that, in the minds of journalists, self-awareness about their role in a democracy is still limited. We need to boost that enough for us to know that if democracy fails, it is journalism that has failed. So I would say that, Again, the grades are on both sides, but we certainly can do better.
We are seeing a full-scale liberalization of content development and dissemination, which is part and parcel of what democracy actually means. So again, the interface between democracy and the media ecosystem in Nigeria has been really, really amazing over the past 25 years.
We need freedom of speech because there is nobody in the government that will know what other people are passing through. People are passing through hell.
There be a relationship between the up and the down. I mean the top and the people at the bottom.
Anytime election is being conducted, they should allow the voice of the masses to be heard.
Before you say you will do something to better democracy, you have to first be in the democracy proper. And we're not in that, so I don't even think there's anything to be done for now.
Nigeria's 25th year of uninterrupted democracy is a reminder of the fragility of democratic institutions and the vigilance required to safeguard them. The journey has been grueling, marked by triumphs and setbacks, but the resilience of the Nigerian people continues to shine through.
The people should understand that the power lies with them. The people should understand that democracy is the government for the people, by the people, and for the people, not for a few politicians. Neither is it for a few rich people.
What will change the development trajectory of Nigeria is the citizens and civil society. Because there is elite capture. And the elite capture cuts across both the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary.
The funding of these institutions should be made to come under the Consolidated Revenue Fund and should be a first-line charge, so that all the arms of government, the executive can have its own budget, the legislature can have its own budget, and the judiciary can have its own. And they should have sufficient funding to enable them perform their function effectively.
Let's continue to keep the fire of democracy burning. Let's keep the torch lit for generations to come.
And as the sun rises on the next 25 years of this democratic expedition, the importance of strengthened institutions cannot be overemphasized. The road ahead may be paved with challenges, but Nigerians have proven they are more than passengers on the ride. For in the end, it is the people who will determine Nigeria's future and illuminate the path to peace, unity, and progress. Wale Fakile, Just Nigeria.
Strengthening institutions, empowering the people, the power of representative democracy. What are your thoughts on Nigeria's 25-year unbroken democracy? Share with us on X at Just Nigeria TV. We'd like to hear from you.